fun day. Awesome to honor the 74 team. What an unbelievable collection of people and talent and coaching and a standard for us to emulate and strive to reach every single day. I thought our guys had really good energy throughout the game. We didn't play great on the offensive end from the standpoint of putting the ball in the basket in the first half. We got a lot of really good shots that just didn't go in, but I thought our guys stuck with it. Our theme for the day was EGBs, which are always important to us, but we felt like today in particular, we wanted to be at a high level with that, regardless of circumstances. And I thought even, when the game was tied, 8-10 minutes into the game, our guys stuck with that. Really happy for Cam to get 34 points on his birthday. Tyler moving the ball around the way that he does is something that we'll never take for granted. I thought Stevie, again, spearheaded our defensive approach, which was really big. Our ability to switch, I think, was a big factor. They were hurting us on the glass early on, and that was something that we need to be better with. But I thought overall, really good defensive effort by our guys.
Shaka, you sometimes say, Cam's going to have a good day when his spirit and his energy are in the right place. Have you seen something different these last couple games when he scored 34 points in both of those?
I mean, he's present. It sounds really oversimplified, but you can't be good when you're in the past or in the future mentally. When you are here in the moment and the ball comes to you and you can shoot the ball like him, or attack and finish around the basket like him, then great things are going to happen. And so you might say, well, why isn't he present every time? Well, that's what we're working on. But there's a lot of things for players, coaches, people in other walks of life that sometimes pull us into the past or into the future. He has a high standard. He is, believe it or not, someone who puts a lot of pressure on himself. So sometimes that can, wreak havoc on the mind. But I think he's been doing a really good job focusing on his teammates, giving energy, talk has been very, very good. And then you see good results come out of that.
We talked – oh, sorry.
Steve, go ahead. Just this game was really close for about 10, 12 minutes, and then you hold them scoreless for about 5.5, and then you're off to the races. Just what changed after that first 10, 12 minutes of this game?
Well, I think our guys – defensive energy was good early on, but I think it even picked up. There was a stretch. We always keep track of the deflections throughout the game, and then I kind of check on where we are with the deflections at each timeout. And we had a flurry of deflections during that stretch you're talking about where we were able to extend the lead. And I always feel like that is a good indicator of overall energy. And, we've at times looked at it correlated to scoring and correlated to, margin of difference between offense and our team and their team. And it always kind of weighs out that way. So we're getting our hands on the basketball, guys attacking. There was a couple guys that struggled at the beginning that just kind of settled in, got to a place of acceptance, and, joined the party with their teammates.
We talk often about how Stevie's impact's hard to quantify on defense. If you were building a case for him as a defensive player here in the Big East, how would you go about doing that?
Well, I'm biased because I'm his coach. He would get my vote if you could vote for your own players. You can't. So since he can't, I'd probably vote for another guy. But you can't really quantify it. I mean, just his energy, the way he impacts his teammates, the winning plays that he makes. What we need to do, I guess, is make a long highlight tape of all the defensive possessions that he saves for us or creates stops for us and send that to anyone that's voting on this type of thing.
Hey, Shaka. For the most part, you guys switched screens today defensively. How has Oso's defensive versatility and the rest of your teams allow you to be so effective in switching screens?
Yeah, that's a great point, and that was a huge part of our ability to defend in this game. We do not have the biggest and strongest team, but one thing we do have good versatility with our taller guys. I thought Oso and Ben were very, very good when they got switched onto their guards. And their guards are a handful. Those three guys, their starting guards, averaged 47 points between the three of them. And we did a nice job tonight making them inefficient, which is not easy to do. And I thought Ben and Oso were a big part of that. The switching is, there's pros and cons of it, but with our group it makes sense because we do have that versatility with those bigger guys. And then our guards, they just try to fight for their life when they get switched on to bigger guys.
Shaka, a bit off topic, but given the stature as a top 10 program right now, was wondering if you watched any of the video from Wake Forest last night where Kyle Filipowski got hurt in the court storming, and just curious what your thoughts on the act was in general, and do you have concern for your players' safety when similar situations might arise?
I was watching the game, actually. I was watching it live. We had just gotten done with practice. My daughter came into the Owl, and we were going to get some work in on the court. But before we went down there, that game was finishing up, so we just watched the last couple minutes. I think that, we got to be careful to be super reactionary. It's something that is unique and special about college sports, not just basketball, but football. At the same time, we got to keep people safe. So is there a way to do both? Is there a way to keep that neat experience for those college kids and that team that won that game, that home team, without anyone getting hurt? I would be surprised if there was anything malicious. You said that act, but I don't know. I wasn't there. When you have a team of the level and the program of Duke, and everyone loses on the road sometimes, and then those sorts of things are going to happen. I think it's happened to us once or twice. I think that whoever is working in game operations, we just got to make sure that the players are safe because we don't want anyone getting hurt. But I don't know if I would go as far as to say that there's no place for it because it is a pretty neat scene. I mean, and you look at some of the pictures of like iconic wins with, people hanging off the goalposts in football or, everybody on the court in basketball. So I wouldn't say like a blanket statement, you got to get rid of it all.
Shaka, back to this game or your team right now. Obviously, valleys and peaks for any team through the course of the season. Do you feel you're on a steady ascent as you go into March with this team? No, there's no such thing as a steady ascent. We are growing, and we are learning and improving. But unfortunately, growth for any team is not linear. It's just not. Just like for any player, for any coach. I watched this unbelievable interview with Cillian Murphy, who's a phenomenal actor, and he's been acting for 28 years. And he talked about this anecdote. One of the directors that he had way back when he was young told him, you got to do this 30 years until you can really, really become great. And that applies to a lot more than acting. That applies to playing, coaching. Well, we don't get these guys for 30 years. We get them for however long they're here. The one thing that we do have that is a steady ascent is the level of experience. Today we have two more games worth of experience than we did a week ago. And as I've said, each of these games are chips in our pocket. And a lot of times the losses are the most powerful chips, or maybe a win where, you came back from being down, or a loss where you were up and the other team came back. It's all about having the ability to apply that stuff in the moment. And that's why it's not a steady ascent, because these guys are human beings. And sometimes it's amazing. You would think, hey, we've been here, let's go do this. And it doesn't happen. But the teams with true competitive maturity are able to make it happen when it matters most. in a week the calendar is going to flip to March, and those weeks that follow after that, that's when, man, you better be the best version of you if you want to keep playing.
That's it. Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you.